It is now my privilege to introduce the pastor and director of St. Paul's Newman Center, Father Jame Cheney. Fresh off a small dairy farm in Wolf Lake, Minnesota, Father Cheney came to NDSU as a student in the 1980s. It was during his time there as a student and a janitor that he developed a deep love for Christ and discerned a call to the priesthood. In 1995, he was ordained a priest for the Diocese of Fargo and has served our country as a military chaplain since 1997. Father Cheney is the 14th director of St. Paul's Newman Center. His passion for college ministry, forming young people in Christ's image, and devotion to the NDSU Newman Center is evident to everyone. Help me welcome Father Jame Cheney.
What up? Freebird! Thanks all for coming. I don't know if you guys know Lars, Sven, and Oli, but they were asked when you're in the casket and your friends and neighbors are mourning you, what would you like them to say? And Lars said, well, I'd like them to say that I was a wonderful husband, a fine spiritual leader, and a heck of a family guy. And Sven said, I'd like them to say I was a wonderful teacher, a servant of God, and made a huge difference in the lives of people. And Oli said, well, I'd like them to say, look, he's still moving. Yes, sir. The power of life over death. It's the central teaching of our faith. It's what brings us all together tonight, and it's at the heart of our mission here at bisonCatholic and St. Paul's Newman. Maybe just give you a 30,000-foot view of where we've been and where we're at today. I don't know if you've got some pictures of the chapel there, but we got some pictures there this morning. That's your cue. There they are. So that was taken this morning about 8 o'clock. Beautiful sunrise this morning. We can kind of see the progress there. Yep, she takes up the whole block. But we've got a new church in play, a new Newman Center, an 82-bed faith-based housing facility that is now open. We have about 63 students living there. And we hope to be in the administrative part of the Newman Center by, well, probably February. And hopefully the chapel will be done sometime next summer. So that's kind of where we're at. We've had some challenges with Corona, Suez Canal, so I'm thinking we're really lucky we started building when we did before hyperinflation and everything else is, before us, but we'll get her done, and she's going to be a beautiful facility. Everyone that I walk through there, it takes 30 minutes just to walk through the thing, and I'm thinking, gosh, maybe I overbuilt. And then I think, nah. 1 year ago, St. Paul's Newman Center reached our original goal of our $21.5 million campaign. However, foreseen and unforeseen factors compelled us to launch a second campaign of an additional $10 million. Like most projects, St. Paul's faced an increase in construction costs and inflation since the capital campaign began back in 2015. Additionally, we did a lot of design changes to the facility. We put in underground parking. We changed that whole front of the grand entranceway. We put an additional 5th floor on faith-based housing. So as things developed and refined over time, the costs went up as well. So while discerning the best path forward with Bishop Folda and our top campaign leadership and our supporters, we were encouraged not to cut the vision or sacrifice the quality of the facility. That's another thing. We didn't really hold back in the chapel. We want the chapel to be glorious and beautiful. So in light of this, it was determined that we needed an additional $10 million to finish the race. And to date, we've raised $26,500,000. Yeah. Thanks to all of you. I'm indebted in a sea of gratitude for all of you. I'm not very good at math, but 26 and a half means we've got 5 to go. So I'm just going to give the Lord my best effort in that, and hopefully we'll be able to get her up and get her paid for in short order. I also, so that's kind of where we're at with the project and the campaign. There's also, on the program side of the house, things just continue to go well. Our goal is to form future leaders for the life of the church and state, to change hearts, to change lives. And I'm always just so passionate about campus ministry because that's where my life changed. When I came off from a small dairy farm and my first year at college was a disaster. So I needed Jesus, you know. But I came to the Newman Center and it totally changed my life. So I have that desire for every student. I think there's a couple of characteristics that come into play when it comes to successful campus ministry. First and foremost, I think we have to be faithful to Christ. We have to be faithful to our Catholic faith. We have to have an active prayer life. We have to offer the sacraments, retreats, Bible studies. The whole building up of the soul is an important component of campus ministry. Also providing opportunities for servant leadership, getting our students involved with opportunities to serve our community, mission trips, getting them plugged into kind of a broader vision of how to be a servant and how to serve others, to fulfill that great commandment, to love God and to love our neighbor as ourselves. And I think spiritually joyful, too, is another quality or characteristic that I've seen in a lot of the successful lives that we've been so privileged to serve at bisonCatholic. There's a couple of great examples. One of them was Thomas Escrow. Tom, he came to us from Anoka, Minnesota, typical Catholic, you know, goes into the church and sits in the back where nobody can see me. I don't want anyone to see me, you know, but I spotted him from afar and I thought, wow, what's this young adult up to? He came to NDSU. He was a peer minister for 4 years, studied civil engineering, top of his class, got hired by one of the top firms in town, Houston Engineering, eventually got his own license to be an engineer, and he was at the top of his game. I don't know, what does somebody like that make, $100 grand? You know, he fell in love with Katie at the ping pong table. A lot of stuff happens at the ping pong table, you know? They have a beautiful family, you know? And Tom, he's involved with his parish. He's leading a Bible study. He's leading a men's group. He's got a family. He's got a full-time job. And he's telling the Lord, look, I'm doing everything I can. But then the Lord said to him, well, actually, I think you can do more. And Tom quit his job at Houston Engineering. And he took a job as director of evangelization at a small parish in Aberdeen, South Dakota. I couldn't believe it. I thought Tom had lost his mind, you know? I called him out. I said, Tom, what are you doing working for the church? And he said, Father, well, you're the one, you know, you taught us we're supposed to pray and discern. And I was asking the Lord, and he was telling, and I was listening. And I was like, wow, I don't know if I could have done something like that. But that's the quality and caliber of the young adults that are out there today, that if we invest in them, our return on investment is enormous. You know, when I think of the lives that he's going to touch in a parish, and not to mention, you know, the 100-some focused missionaries that we've generated in the time that we've been there that have gone out to other campuses, and I'm sure Curtis will touch on spiritual multiplication here in a minute. Another great student was Eric Clark, the Manly Man Star man. He was a great young man who came. He was a focused missionary, gave 4 years of his life, started a men's house, the Bosco House. All the first-year guys in the Bosco House either became Catholic priests or focused missionaries. What up? You know, Eric, he had the magic. You know, he was a great guy. He would take his guys down to the stripper club on 7th Avenue and pray the rosary while everyone else was inside, you know, praying for the conversion of their souls. I mean, this is how bold this guy was, you know, spiritually fruitful, you know, just drawing the guys in, you know. And eventually he walked into Stop and Go one day and said, I want to talk to the manager. The manager came out and he said, you know, it's immoral for you guys to sell pornography in here and you should stop. And they did. That was Eric Clark, you know? The manly man star, man. And, he was dating this beautiful gal for a while, and I thought, okay, that's it, thanks, Eric, But then he discerned that God was calling him to the priesthood. And he eventually was ordained to the priesthood and is a pastor of St. Peter's in Lincoln right now. I got to tell you, one of the most powerful experiences I ever had in my entire life was I went to his first Mass, and before his first Mass, before Mass began, we sat down, we kneeled down, and we prayed the rosary together. And I was just so grateful for him, to be a priest. It's just incredible what happens when our young adults encounter Christ and their lives are changed forever. And that's a very long time. One of the other students that we'd like to speak tonight is Grace Clawson. She is majoring in journalism. She's also one of the first Newman housing ministers, or maybe you think like in a college dorm setting like a RA, but we call them Newman housing ministers, and she's done a great job for us. She's majoring in journalism, and I'd like for her to just say a few words about bisonCatholic and what it's meant to her. Grace?